Right. Okay. I'll go ahead and begin. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting of Thursday, September 12th, 2024. Call to order at 1:03 p.m. And I'll go ahead and do roll call. Terry Majewski is here. Andrew Christopher.
Here.
Andrew. Oh, great. Thank you. Joel Ireland. Okay. Jan Mulder.
Here.
Savannah McDonald is no longer on Plans Review for the time being, so she doesn't affect the quorum. Ricky Riojas.
Here.
Great. So we have 4 members. And let's watch for Joel to join if he does. Okay, item 2 is review and approval of the 8/22/2024 legal action report and meeting minutes. Could I have a motion to approve as submitted, please?
This is Ricky. I motion to approve as submitted.
This is Andrew. I'll second.
Okay, hold on just a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. Andrew Christopher.
Aye.
Terry Majewski votes aye. Jan Mulder.
Aye.
And Ricky Riojas.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, historic preservation zone review cases. We review these under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0.0 Historic District Design Guidelines and the revised Secretary of the Interior Standards and Guidelines. Case 3A is 1135 West Miracle Mile, TD DEV 1023-00435/TS-PRM-0224-0003, excuse me, 00053. Okay, this is for rehabilitation of existing motel for a multifamily development. It's the Amazon Motel Historic Sign Treatment Plan. It's a full review. This is in the Miracle Mile National Register Historic District. It's a contributing resource, and we use the rehabilitation standards. And do you have background, please?
I don't know if subcommittee staff has got anything to say, but I'm Johanna Hernandez. I'm the Deputy Director for Housing and Community Development, and I did want to say something quickly about the project. I just want to make sure.
We'll be sure to call you. Yeah, we usually start with the staff report. Christina or
I will give the staff.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Madam Chair, the subcommittee will call on April 25th, 2024. This project came before you as a full review for multi-family development. In the course of the review, there was an Amazon sign that was shown, and the subcommittee had made a recommendation that whenever the sign was ready, it should return to PRS for review. So you are today just reviewing the Amazon sign for the treatment plan. So they have submitted to you what is their proposal to rehabilitate that sign as it is. So that is basically what they reviewed today. The other part of the multi-family project was already reviewed by this subcommittee. We are today just reviewing the Amazon sign. That is what I can say as a staff report. If there's any question, I can answer. And Johanna will be able to talk about more details if so needed.
Okay, and this is a Heritage Landmark sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Harry, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is Christina our new staff person that's replacing Jody, or we just don't have anybody yet and it's Miss Michael now?
Oh,
well,
no. Christina is my colleague in the office. She's helping us She's our management assistant, so she's helping us with technology and all that thing that we need. We don't yet have somebody who is who is acting like who is a historic preservation officer. And Maria there also is also working with me in the historic preservation office during this period of transition. So you either see myself, you see Maria, or you see Christina helping us. So there are three of us now in the historic preservation office. For most of the review cases, you basically be seeing me, and then I will also tap on Christina most of the time. That's why the two of us are here. Maria cannot be here today, but she's part of our tag team.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Okay, Joanna, would you like to begin? Are you going to share your screen?
I'm not. Zoe will go through all of that for us, but I just wanted to add a couple things to sort of the staff update. One, this sign is not a heritage landmark sign. We did not go through that process. We don't intend to. It's a historic sign. And our proposal includes preserving that sign. And also I wanted to let you all know that this project has already gone before and through SHPO for the State Historic Preservation Act review, and we have concurrence from SHPO on the plans that you'll see here today that Zoe will cover.
Okay, thank you. So Zoe, you're going to go ahead and share your screen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Looks like it's still disabled.
We are going to give you the code.
Yeah, hold on. Let me work on that with you, but there you are, Zoe. We are going to make you a co-host, and that should give you the option of doing that. So go ahead and try again.
Okay, perfect. All right, can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Zoe Sadorf with PMM. I'm the architect on this project. As Johanna mentioned, we've already gone before the PRS for the building, and we're looking specifically at the sign. I wanted to start by sharing some historic images and documentation that we have of the sign. So we can see here the kind of double rhombus sign with the 3 posts and the red globes on top. There were originally 4 cabinet signs here with copy reading vacancy, air conditioned, color TV, and telephones. We also have the sign permits that were issued for this sign in believe it was the early 70s. Yeah, 71. So we have a good idea of you know, what the sign was originally. This is what we have today. Left of the sign, still have the double rhombuses, and then 1 cabinet sign remains. At some point, a blade sign was added here, and the globes were replaced with white globes instead of red. And then wanted to note too that this pool portion was painted from what it was originally. Actually, both of them were. So you can see here the yellow letters that used to exist, and then this was also a yellow cabinet with blue lettering. So that's what we have existing today. And this is what we're proposing. So part of this project is going to be removing the pool. In the future, there are plans to build an additional affordable housing project on the lot right adjacent to the Amazon motel. And since we're going to be doing that, we're infilling the pool, and documentation for that is underway. Since it's a pool, a historic pool. And since we're getting rid of that, we are removing the neon signs that say pool here. We're removing the last remaining cabinet sign here. And then we're restoring the colors of both of the rhombus shaped signs back to what they originally were, as well as the color of the globes. We are altering the copy for the Amazon Motel, originally Amazon Motel to Amazon Flats, as that's what the future building will be named. And we are also planning to restore the neon lighting in these metal channel letters. All of this, this sign as it stands currently will be protected in place while the construction of the Amazon Motel is underway. So we're not planning on moving the sign at all. It'll stay in place. And then here's another image of kind of how we're showing, how we're planning to relight the sign. Any questions or anything additional you'd like to add, Johanna?
Can you talk about, so the blade sign was removed that was on top of the building?
The blade sign, this blade, it's actually attached to the sign here. You can see better there.
Oh yeah, oh, I'm sorry, it was hard to tell the way.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's on top of the building there. But yeah, since this was not something that was original, we were proposing removing this. And since there's only one cabinet sign remaining and it's been altered from its original kind of copy, we are removing that as well.
Okay, and what will the, when the neon's restored, what will that be like? Is that part of your treatment plan, the restoration of the neon?
Yeah, so the restoration of the neon will be at the channel letters that we're going to be altering from Amazon Motel to Amazon Flats. And then additionally, the globe lighting, not neon, but those are planned to be restored as well.
Okay, and who's doing your neon installation?
We've been having conversations with Cook Signs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And why did you decide not to make it a historic heritage landmark sign? Because you wanted to change the copy so much?
I can jump in here. Sorry, Zoe.
Yeah, go ahead, Johanna.
When I started on this project and they had discussed that we had considered making it a heritage landmark sign, the reasoning for that, right, like to protect the sign, given the circumstances, specifically sort of the name being Amazon and the challenges that might cause with Amazon, the company, going through just the actual formal process we already have to go through, the state historic review and documenting what we plan to do in that protects that in the same way. There was no need to make it a historic landmark sign at the same time to achieve that.
Just kind of odd. Okay, are there questions? Let's go ahead. Andrew, do you have any?
I did, and it just escaped my brain. Oh, yes. Do you plan to, I think you said something about the lower rhombus sign. Do you plan to put something there in the future?
Not at this time. We plan to just leave it blank.
Okay. So it would get like a new blank face to cover the holes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Jan?
Yeah, I guess I just had two quick questions. One, whether that lower sign portion, whether that is also backlit or internally lit, or whether it was before.
It was not before.
Okay.
Let me jump back to this. So it originally had channel letters that were neon, I believe. Yeah. So they were neon letters here, and I think we can see them still. Yeah, in the original drawing.
Oh, I see.
Or the photo, the initial photo. So since it was basically just the metal sign with the neon, we were not planning on backlighting it.
And I guess my other question had to do with that decision to not have any sort of labeling there. I mean, I get it, you've got a different use going in, and you won't have a pool, but there are a number of hotels in town who preserve some of the previous advertising for a pool, no vacancy or something like that in the other where the truck parking is, or some other kind of signage. And I'm just curious if you considered any other options like preserving the pool with no vacancy or something.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. We discussed back and forth the options of keeping that there, leaving that there. I think that in this case, although it's not true in every case, but in this case, the fact that this will be used for housing, it can be very confusing. We were particularly concerned that people would get confused with like the sign that says pool when there is no pool. When we talked about changing copy on the sign in general to Amazon Flats, we discussed the opportunity to sort of change the other rhombus sign as well, and decided as a project team that it would be best just to leave it blank instead of trying to put something else in there. If we're taking pool off, we would just leave it off entirely, and then we'll still sort of preserve the original shapes and return it back to its more similar to its original colors. The other option we talked about was taking that sort of rhombus sign off, but we didn't want to do that. We want to retain as much of the sort of original sign that we could.
Thanks.
I think
it's a loss, but yeah, I get it.
I think one thing we could talk about is potentially putting like the address numbers where pool used to be, possibly.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think that could work. Or even if there's no copy, maybe you could just do like neon around the perimeter so that at least that geometry is illuminated in some way. I feel like at night you're not really gonna see it without any neon or lighting on it.
Yeah, I like that. And I mean, the address could go in that other, I can't remember if you called it a blade or what the other, where the truck parking was.
The cabinet, yeah.
The cabinet light. I mean, just
that
reserve
cabinet
more
is,
of a sense.
Yeah, that cabinet's going away in our proposal, but I do think that there is an opportunity. I'm not opposed. One of the things we talked about with the change of the copy on the main part of the sign is sort of keeping with the same sort of size and distribution of the letters. That's where we ended up with Amazon Flats, so we could still sort of maintain the feel for the sign. I think that address numbers in pool sort of achieves that same goal in that space. I think that's a really good idea. And can provide some lighting as well, but both great comments that we can definitely pursue. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ricky, did you have comments or questions?
Yeah, my question is just about the coloring. So, what is the reason that you went with black instead of something closer to the original blue color of the sign?
It's probably just not reading on the screen, but this is
Okay.
intended to be blue. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
That was my only question.
Okay, I think that, go ahead.
One more.
Andrew?
I know we have the historic photograph of the sign to reference for colors. Do you plan to, as part of the restoration, scrape down and find the original colors and match those? Or are you just gonna kind of go based off the photos? So I know the coloring in the old photos can be distorted.
Yeah, I think that we can attempt that. I think it depends on how many times it's been painted, and but I think that we can start there and try to go that route first.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and if you use Cook signs, they are very versed in that, so that they might be able to really get down to that. So I think what we need is a motion that makes our suggestions about what to do in the sign portion that had pool. And anything else we want to add about the color or doing, forensic investigation on the color. Is someone willing to talk through a motion before they make it?
Yeah, I will, this is Jan.
Okay.
So what you just said, Terry, that we are recommending forensic review of historic colors. And then also that we recommend neon lighting around the perimeter of the secondary sign. I don't know how you, the other rhombus, the smaller rhombus sign or double rhombus, whatever you're calling it.
And that we suggest that it might be good to put the address of the property there, or the number at least of the address.
Yeah, maybe the number space-wise seems like. So,
If you want the number, did you want that neon, like how pool is lit up in neon, or just the
yeah,
flat
if
lettering?
we're putting
so.
something in it, then yeah, I think so.
Because I think we have to specify that, since right now there's nothing.
Just for our clarification, I was thinking, and if it's not, that's okay, but I was thinking your guys' suggestions were something like the numbers for the address that are neon, or if it's going to remain blank, neon around the perimeter, but not necessarily both.
Right, and I think, yeah, if we could do neon for the letters, I think that would be closer, for the numbers, that would be closer to how it was before. I don't know what others think.
Yeah,
think-
trying to like zoom in, it doesn't look like there was ever the outline
Right.
in neon.
I think that
around
was
the-
originally an alternative proposed.
Yeah, I was just thinking if they don't want any
Okay.
Right.
copy, it'd be a way to get
Up the
neon
notes
there.
on the real copy, and I'll be driving it so that I can just navigate myself around as I just.
Good idea. Good idea.
So I don't have to be like, no, the next sheet, or go back.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
But I think we have to say that we approve of the treatment plan with the following additions or suggestions or whatever. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Would we
Right,
do it as an optional, like we prefer the neon numbers, but would be okay with or do we just leave it as we just would like the following condition of the neon numbers?
Yeah, I think we
mean-
can do or like a neon address numbers to replace pool, or neon around the perimeter on the face of the sign or something like that. And just to clarify, are these just recommendations or are they conditions?
well,
Right.
they'd be part of our recommended approval,
Okay.
right?
And then it's
Mm,
up to the
suggested condition.
director if it
Right.
becomes a condition.
Right,
Yeah.
just like a normal,
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was just thinking, because normally the verbiage is conditions.
right,
but-
right, but our recommendation with these conditions, is that right?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
this
that's-
isn't
yeah.
a courtesy review. This is actually,
Right. A review,
yeah, so I think, and then the director will do
what they do.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
and-
only question I have now that we've talked about the numbers, I mean, that seems closer to the original sign. I mean, do we even want to throw the option in? I mean, it seems doable. Unless somehow that seems prohibitive, but, and more utilitarian.
I mean, from the city's perspective, I think that putting the numbers in is a great idea. I don't have
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
against it, so I'm not concerned about how you guys, specifically word your recommendation. I think it's a really good idea. It's consistent with what we did with the name and the sign and replacing motel with flats. I think it's something to
One
pursue.
question, Johanna, there's a second phase to this in the future, right?
Mhm.
Building. Do you all know, do you plan to address that separately, or would it share the same address?
I imagine it'll share the same address.
Okay.
Whew.
Sorry, Sarah, please.
Were you talking about the new building that we
Yes.
end up building? Yeah, it'll actually be a separate parcel. We will have to parcel it off entirely and it'll get a new address. So
But
I think that is something we should consider. So it might be best to leave it as the option, because we won't know what that address is until the future. when we get into that development project. But yeah, the two buildings will be addressed differently.
Hmm.
Okay.
Thank
you'll
you, Sarah. I
access
didn't realize that.
Yeah, will you access them through the same entrance?
Yes,
Okay. I think
Through
I
the
like
same
the,
So we'll put the option in.
yeah, I think that's smart.
So that would be neon framing of this sign, is that correct, or outline?
Yeah, a neon border on the face of the cabinet, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at least it kind of pulls it together for effect,
Sure,
with the neon.
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In the matter of 1135 West Miracle Mile, the rehabilitation of the existing Amazon motel sign to Amazon Flats, we recommend approval as presented with the following conditions: that a forensic review for the historic colors be undertaken, and that the smaller sign include either neon address numbers or a neon border on the face of the smaller sign.
Okay, is there a second?
This is
Second.
Rick.
We'll go with Andrew. Is that
Andrew,
okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and call roll. Andrew,
Aye.
Terry votes aye, Jan,
Aye.
and Ricky.
Aye.
Great, thank you. So it passes 4-0. Are there any questions about the next steps?
I don't think so. Thank you all.
Sam, thank
you.
you, and good luck with the
Thank you.
project.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. All right, Joel never joined, did he? I don't think
No.
so. We just have to keep track just for the quorum purposes and so on. Okay, case 3B, excuse me, is TP PRE 0724-00168, 180 North Main Avenue. This is for the rehabilitation of the J.K. Corbett House into an event center for the Tucson Museum of Art. TMA, it's to renovate the patio, construct new walls and entry as well. Full and fire damage restoration. It's a courtesy review. It's in El Presidio Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource in rehabilitation standards. Now I'm confused because to the right of the case on the first line, it says action. Because these agendas are different than we normally have. So first time I've seen this format. So what is that about? Is it courtesy or is it a discussion action item?
No, Madam Chair, this format because this is just a new format that is being brought. The new management wants all agendas to be consistent with the other processes that happen in PDSD. So we are just starting this. So this is not really an actionable item. It is just, I should have taken this out as a mistake on all this courtesy. You do not require any action on this.
Okay, because the next case 3C is courtesy but doesn't have action, so it is not action. Okay.
Because all these other cases, the rest of the cases, they do not require your action. They are courtesy review. It was my mistake and that of Maria, we should have taken this out. But
Okay,
sorry.
that's why I asked. Yes, okay.
I had one more question. There was another project that was added in and taken out, so that's out now.
It's
The
out.
628 North 4th.
It's out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I said the agenda was too aggressive
Thank you.
before.
I come with the chair and then I took that out at the last minute. The first agenda that I sent to you had that one. But when I spoke
Okay.
chair, it looked too heavy, so we are pushing that one for the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought it's just too much when we have 5
Yes.
cases. Okay, thank you. So anyway, staff, do you want to provide some background on this case, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, on August the 7th, the architects for this project were before Air Procedure to do the same courtesy review that they are doing before you here. Air Procedure did have a few concerns and questions which I sent their legal action report to, but they were generally supportive of what the architect or the applicants are trying to do for this project. So with that, unless you have specific question which I can answer from the legal action report, other than that, I will turn it over to the applicants to present to you. The plans that you have before you today are the same plans that were presented to Air Procedure.
Okay, thank you. Who's presenting on this case then?
Is there anybody from BWS Architects here?
I think Karina is muted. We're not hearing her.
Sorry. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Karina Makamaski. Yes, I'm with BWS Architects. And we also have John Wallace here with the Tucson Museum of Art. He'll be representing the Tucson Museum of Art.
Okay, thank you. Who will be sharing their screen to go over the proposal?
I will.
Great.
So we're going to make you co-host so you can share your screen.
Okay. Let's see, I'm in the wrong screen. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, I think I've got the correct screen up.
Great.
Okay, so,
that's good.
and
Alrighty.
I'm sorry, I also forgot to introduce Brandon Willman is also here from our office. He's assisting on the project as well. And I was not on the previous meeting, so if I'm repeating myself or repeating things that you've already heard, I apologize. But he'll be taking notes for our office.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Michael was
Let's-
was referring to another body's meeting. It wasn't our meeting. Correct?
Oh, okay.
This is, you will just present this to them as if you are presenting for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
And I
Okay.
talked about was Air Procedure, it was not this group. So do your presentation as it is to them, not as it is the first time they are seeing this project.
Okay. Great. Well, this is a Tucson Museum of Art building that's located on 180 North Main Street. At one time, it was a residence built in the early 1900s. It went through some iterations in the 70s with an art college and such. And when the Tucson Museum of Art took it over, it was part of their displays. The last use of the building, they had historic displays of the rooms, and we were hired to look at the building to see about potential different uses for the building while retaining its historic character. And the latest is the Tucson Museum of Art would like to use it as an event space as part of their event spaces while maintaining the historic feel of the building. Something that came up since that review was that there was a dumpster fire that came on to the south side of the building about a year ago that caused quite a bit of damage to the exterior and interior of the building. So in addition to renovating the space and the adjacent site space for an event space. We also have quite a bit of repair work to do because there is smoke damage throughout. Some of the existing features that we would like to restore to their existing, to their old conditions is the front balustrades. There's some awnings in the front and on the sides that were damaged in the fire. Of course, there's stucco. They lost some windows, gutters, eaves. They were able to put out the fire before it caused major damage, but we are going to have to reframe the roof. It currently has half tiles and half asphalt on the top. And we would like to just restore it to all tiles, the mission style tiles that it has currently. There's an existing staircase made out of wood. Now that was not damaged by the fire, but it is in just very poor, unsafe shape to use. And there's some existing they're masonry and stucco benches. I don't believe they're part of the original house, but they are also in poor condition. So we are proposing to remove demolish those and rebuild those. So I'll go on to, and then this is just some more work that's showing the demolition scope. So we're proposing to use, there's a development package that was approved in 2019 for the Kaiser family gallery, in which they had calculated out the parking. We're proposing to use that as part of our submittal because we're not changing the use, which was an A3 use. It's not going to be an exhibit space anymore. It's now going to be a small event center. So part of our renovation work would be rebuilding these benches. So this is the parking side. This is also the accessible side. Right now, this courtyard has a series of, they're not really to code ramps. And this is the accessible entrance on this side. There's the front entrance, but that is accessed by steps. There's currently 2 storage rooms, and we're proposing to make those into restrooms that would also be accessed off this courtyard. We're proposing leaving there's a section of existing concrete here with a historic bottleneck skylight that provides light down to the basement level. And there's a old hatch that is just a piece of plywood right now. So we're proposing replacing that with a metal hatch that would be like a cellar style that would open, that because our mechanical equipment is going to be located in the basement level. And then the stairs that go up to the second level are to access some storage rooms, formerly probably bedrooms and a sleeping porch. The other improvement that we're making to the building, partially due to the fire and the new occupancy, is adding sprinklers to the building. And so that would require a fire riser room and a fire department connection. So all this is existing, to zoom in, sorry. This is all existing masonry wall. And the darker wall in between is what we're proposing to infill this overflow courtyard and accessible entrance. And that's also a section of existing wall. That is to make this area more secure for the users. You know, just thinking of basic function of somebody having a wedding party there or something, you just don't want little kids running out into the parking area, or vice versa. You don't want people that are not part of the event just wandering through. So this infill portion of the wall was taken from some of the features at the west side of the building. The west side meaning, if we go back to the first sheet, this is the existing features with the arches and such. And there's also a metal gate. It's not shown in this photo, but there's a metal gate on the street of Main Street to the sidewalk, and those are all original. Not exactly, we didn't exactly want to copy those features, but we just wanted to, you know, the word that I'm trying to complement, not clash with the existing architecture. And then same with these gates. There's some small arched gates that lead on from the lawn onto the sidewalk of Main Street. And what we're proposing with the masonry benches at the parking area would be to rebuild them with concrete tops to protect them, but also with the stucco. So all of the new stucco work would be matching the colors. The exterior colors are all going to match what's already there. They have some repair work to do, so we'll propose some colors and just ask the contractor to match the building as it is. One thing with the rebuilding the pavers is to make it all one level to access these former storage rooms that will become restrooms for the events. And so, but also proposing sloping the new pavers out to the parking lot. The whole site slopes this way to the east. And then this is just a layout of the rooms. But this is where the fire riser room is going to be on the south side of the building. This is the service part of the building where the dumpsters and recycling bins are accessed off of Main Street. And then here's the elevations. So what I was saying about those mission style tiles, we would like to reuse and then match what they already have. We will need to bring in some more tiles to match the rear. Right now, this is asphalt shingles, and we do not believe that was original. We believe that it was originally mission style tiles for that house. And then we need to do some repair work on the outside. There's some of these basement openings are just boarded up, so we're going to replace it with like a grill or a grate that would complement this. The stairs that I had shown you a photo of earlier, we would like to put those back as metal or steel stairs, but also just matching the color of what they are now, the dark green. So the building will be white and dark green as it is now. Also building those balustrades that are falling apart in the on the east side of the building, just rebuilding those. We at one time had thought about rebuilding them as steel, but no, we're just going to rebuild them with wood to match what they are now. And then I have a couple of renderings here of what that courtyard feel would be like. We're not going to put any roofs over it. It's just going to remain as it is on the top. And then this would be as if you were standing in the parking lot looking towards the back of the building or the east side of the building, and that would be the accessible entrance. And that concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do have questions. Do you have historic photographs of the building to back up, you know, your decision about the roofing and other things?
So we couldn't find, I couldn't find a building of, a photograph of the rear of the building or the east side of the building. We did have some photos of it. Now, see, this isn't original photos, but at one time it seemed that that courtyard had been infilled and that sleeping porch had been infilled. I think these photos, do you see how the mission style tiles were there? But at one time, now this is just my theory, but I think they were taken off when they started using this and filling this courtyard for, I believe it was used as an art college at one time in the 1970s. And I believe, so all of that has been removed. of course. It seems like at one time somebody had tried to take it back to the way it was. But this is the most you could see in this corner where there's the tile roofs, and then it transitions to the asphalt. So I believe that in 1907, they hired an architect to draw this build, to make these plans for them. And I don't think they would have designed it half mission style and half asphalt. So our proposal is to put all mission style tiles back.
Yeah. And I have another question. Will you retain as many of the mission style features and woodwork and so on the interior? Because it's pretty unusual.
Yes. Yep. We are leaving, let me go back to the presentation. We don't want to remove any of the existing built-in features. The dressing room has some nice built-in features. The kitchen does. So we're calling it a catering prep. Food will not be prepared in this kitchen. It will just be a place where people from outside caterers could plug in their carts and such.
Right.
They're warming carts.
From there. Yeah.
And we're not taking out, there's currently a stove here. It's not the original stove. So we're going to put in some more counter space for them, but like there's some existing millwork here. There's an existing fireplace and chimney. The chimney does need some repair work. We don't know the extents yet of what that repair work is. The fire was on this side of the building. There's some cracks and such, but we won't know till they actually demo the roof plan to see how much of that needs to be rebuilt. And there's beautiful built-in features, and there's a pocket door between these two rooms that is missing. It's just not there anymore. So we're going to put that. We're going to do a replica and put that back. There's so yes, we so the two rooms that we're changing the most are they're store rooms, and they don't have any built-ins in them. So we're going to make built-ins to serve the new function of the building. And then this area right here, that's existing concrete. Like I said, it's this bottleneck skylight is we just did not want to even try to demo anything around that. So we just want to leave that intact. But we also want to make this accessible.
And remember, you don't, you want things to be compatible, but not create a false sense of history when you reconstruct them. But they need to be compatible, like some of the exterior things you're talking about doing with the gates and the accessibility and things like that. And so this courtesy review just gives you our feedback, because you'll come back to see us when the plans are finalized. Because it is a review in the HPZ, correct, Michael?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and I will ask for questions here. Let's start with Ricky this time.
Could you go back to that picture that was showing the demo? There looked like there was like a pole that was. I did have a question about that. Under the stair. Oh, there's on that second.
Oh, the second floor?
Yeah. So what is replacing that? Is that just a support pole that needs to be replaced for structural integrity purposes?
Are we looking down at the basement level?
Yeah, there's that picture that's on the top of part of the screen.
Oh, okay. So that is existing and that is remaining. We are leaving all the existing columns. I haven't included our proposal for the rebuilt of this, but we're adding column lines on the interior. We have to just to bring the structural loads down from the added weight. So what our structural engineer found was that the original framing may have been undersized for supporting the mission tiles. And so we're going to bolster up the existing framing. But as you can see from upstairs, could you see this picture that had all the damage that occurred? It's going to have to come out anyways. Yeah, so it's going to be some growing pains to take off the existing roof. It's sagging right now. I mean, if you just look at it from the street, you'll see. But yeah, so we're adding some columns on the interior.
Okay. And the grates on the outside, so you said there's some of them that are like the basement grates. that
Mhm.
some of those are wooden. Are you just creating the new ones that you're putting on to match what's already there? And are
They're,
those historically accurate?
the basement grates, I don't have a good photo right here. Let me see if I can find one that I can pull up for you. If I share it like that, can you see a photo I just pulled up? 'Cause I'm not sure
No.
if it's.
Oh.
You have to reshare it.
Karina, we have a photo of it on the next sheet of the PDF on the basement floor plan.
I knew there was a reason why I put in all these demo plans. Oh, there you go.
So that's what's there now, but they're getting replaced with like matching to the ones that do have actual grates in them still.
So, and you can't see it even in this picture very well. So they're like metal bars that are painted. They do have concerns with, you know, rodents and such getting into the attic space. So that's why we need to secure that area. So you're just wondering about what the look of it will be, like if color-wise and such. I'm picturing it that it would just be a great. So also, I didn't really cover this. On the exteriors, you see they have screens for the attic. That one's a damaged one. So you won't see it from the outside. We are moving the insulation. There was no insulation. We're moving we are closing off these holes from the inside, adding a metal panel, insulated metal panel and insulation from the inside. So I'm imagining that the grate, and these it's just built out of round wood with screens, and you see them all up and down the street. This architect, you know, like to use these oval features for ventilating the attic space. But we're changing that concept because we're going to bring up to current codes the attic and the attic insulation, adding the R38 insulation in there. So we'll be closing those off. So I'm imagining that what we do with that will somehow what we do there with the basement will have to somehow complement it.
Okay. And I had another question, but I forgot it. So I'm gonna let Andrew go, and if I remember, I will ask it.
Okay. I have, or can you kind of walk us through it looks like it was an addition, like sleeping porch, the two component on the southeast corner. Can you just walk us through your treatment plans for that and what you're proposing?
Yes, and because I don't think, did I include a plan? Oh, I did not include the plan of that. I believe that this was an original sleeping porch. I mean, it could have been added on it could have been added on, but I believe that it was probably part of the original building because traditionally there were sleeping porches. We are just, it's just an open ceiling like a porch with some insulation that was added over the years, and all the windows, all the screens have windows in them or glass in them. So we're proposing just leaving that the same. We are going to replace this door. It's an existing door. It's not a historic door. It's just like a solid core wood that's just coming off of the frame. There was damage during the fire. And I don't know if you need me to walk you through any more of the existing features, but so as far as from the exterior, that's the component that would be replaced besides the stairs themselves.
Okay, so there's existing glazing there that you're proposing to just leave in place.
We're going to leave glazing as much as possible. The fire also, they got damaged some of the historic windows, and we're proposing just repairing those and having the contractor replace the glass.
Okay. My second question is, what's the mechanical HVAC setup for the building now, and how do you anticipate changing that or updating that?
It used to have units downstairs in the basement, and I think there was an evap, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, John, because John knows more about the building as it currently was before the fire. There was a evaporative cooler or some kind of wall unit upstairs that was definitely added much later. And they had their ducting. So there are some historic floor grills throughout that we are planning on keeping. We need to add a little bit more. So for the main space, we're just planning on rebuilding the ductwork and bringing it for the heating and cooling from underneath. We are replacing a unit out in this courtyard, this enclosed courtyard, and that will be servicing the new restrooms.
Okay.
And we are not conditioning the upstairs because it's going to be storage.
Okay. And then my second question, I guess not really a question, maybe just a suggestion. So you mentioned you're going to be reframing the entirety of the roof, correct?
Not the entirety. To put it in perspective, this part is starting to sag. Now I
Okay.
kind of wish I had.
The
I
main
Yeah,
ridge.
so
Yeah.
it's if you're looking at the rear of it, it's mostly this area that's getting reframed.
Mhm.
And then parts of the existing framing are going to remain, but they're just suggesting bolstering what they have there over the two wings.
Okay. So is the strategy then to essentially leave the roof in place and then sister up all of the members? Or would you be looking at like fully replacing and then like
In this section,
reattaching the tails to that?
in this section of roof, is the part that will be replaced, not including this wall. So they would, but the ones that are the parts of the roof that have not been impacted by the fire, that's just smoke damage, then they would just be, well, they have to evaluate them, of course, once they actually get in there. And then it's just to, yes, just reinforce what's there.
Okay. Yeah. And your engineer is Schneider, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're in good hands.
Yes.
Yeah. Just want to make sure that the eaves and the proportions and the tails and all of that can remain and that we're not pushing
Yes.
the height of any of that up. Yeah.
No, we plan to just put the heights and such exactly back as where they are, and the the rafter tails that have been damaged in the fire, we're asking the contractor to replace them as they are.
Okay, great. I think that was all I had.
Perfect. Okay, how about Jan?
Yeah, thank you. Can you show what the existing stairs up look like again? That external stairway? Okay.
You see, it was like OSB. That's just
yeah. No, I was curious more about the railing. I noticed on the replacement you had kind of the horizontal stiles or whatever you want to call them going up parallel to the stairs, and I was just curious whether there was something more vertical and traditional, but it looks like it was replaced at some point with just 2x4s and
yeah, and
yeah.
we could try to match. You're just saying to see
Well,
it more
it
like
just looked
this.
like a very contemporary treatment, so I just had a question about that. The bricks, I just wanted to clarify, you're having to take the bricks out and then you'll relay them then at a new grade that is ADA accessible. Is that you're preserving as much of the brick as possible and then relaying them? Is that correct in the courtyard?
Well, we're taking them out and then we're replacing them. And we're taking out some of the existing concrete because it has different grade changes.
Oh, so it's not all brick in there. Yeah. Saying it's
No,
mixed.
and let's see. I mean, I have a good photo, so let me see if I can share that.
Is there a reason the brick can't be reused? Where you have to
Yeah,
just
that-
replace
it
all of
could-
it?
No, I think
I
that
mean,
I mean, let
Those
me
old
talk.
bricks are really dear. I mean,
Yes. Do you they might be original.
It might not be either. I'm
Yeah,
not
They may
sure
okay.
yet.
not be. We're just
Yeah.
not, because did you see those photos where at one time it was a art college and they had filled the
It's
entire,
filled in, yeah.
that's why I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, that was a question if they were older bricks, if they could be reused. And then as Terry mentioned, just to clarify, like on the back stucco wall and treatment with the kind of mimicking the front, being complementary and everything. If you're matching the color, maybe if that's a whole new construction, if the texture or something were different to kind of differentiate it. So it's not all like presenting as part of the original in the back.
So one thing I would like to mention is the original this is all stuccoed, I
Right.
believe. And so ours is different because we're proposing, I'll show you. This would be, so that would be stucco beneath tying in,
Mhm.
and then we would have, this
Oh,
would be a
concrete.
concrete top,
Got
like,
it.
and this would tie in with the concrete top
Got
of
it.
these. So if that's enough, there would be a section that doesn't have concrete on it. So if you would want us to still
Anyway,
try to,
just a suggestion that would be a way to just have it read as distinct, but yeah, I get it with the concrete. Let's see, I think I just had one other. Oh, it's about the ventilation in the attic. So, I mean, this is a code thing, so I'm sure your folks are, but there must be a way you're still ventilating the attic. You're not closing off all the ventilation
well, we
of
are,
the attic.
that is the strategy. We are proposing that because if you put the insulation at the roof deck, then you don't need to, that becomes part of the conditioned space. So then you do not need
Okay.
to
Oh, got it.
ventilate it.
You're insulating the whole
So
thing.
that, yeah.
Okay.
But from the outside, what my whole point was that from the outside, we're putting the screen, there are some damaged screens and we're leaving the existing screens. We don't want to touch the screens that are good. We want to match the ones that are already there because that's part of the architectural style. So it will be the metal panel will be in from the inside of the house, so you wouldn't
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, that's fine. I just missed that it was all insulated space, so yeah. And then just to confirm, you said that the pre-existing, whatever it was, gallery space and the small event, those are in a similar category, so they don't have different parking requirements. So that's not even part of this project, right?
Yes, we are not, yeah, we're not proposing redoing any parking spaces. You know, they will need a section of the parking lot for contractor staging during construction. It's an A3 occupancy,
Okay.
so the use didn't change.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Carrie, I
Karina,
remembered my question.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
So this concrete top, is that just gonna be a straight concrete top, or is that gonna have any coloring on it at all?
No, I
the
wasn't
stucco? Okay.
proposing, it would just be concrete.
And then the doors and windows, I don't know if I missed this. Are those all being like remediated if they have lead paint or fixed at all, or are they mostly just staying how they are?
So we are replacing some of the doors to make the doors and so we had to replace some of the doors to make the hardware accessible. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is part of the accessible route.
Okay.
But the style, but we're proposing replace their wood doors currently. Oh, and then the one upstairs in the storage room that I pointed out earlier on the second floor where the new stairs are going to be. But we're proposing keeping that, just putting it back wood with the panels. They have the old style panels, inset panels in the doors and the transoms, which let in nice light, and just repainting those to that green trim color that you've seen.
How much bigger do those doors have to be made?
Well, this one we're just replacing the door itself to get the hardware up to date. This one we're actually having to relocate because it's currently right here. But for ADA, it would conflict with the clearances needed with that column. So we relocated that. So that's going to be a 3.0 door. These are pretty close. I think they're like 210 to 211. It's kind of an odd size.
Well, yeah, it was just somebody
Just to
who
get
just cut a hole out of a wall.
just to get the openings. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I have just a couple things to say, but anyone else on plans review have any other suggestions that Karina should, or questions before we move on and they go back and do their final plans for submission? Okay, I just wanted to say, Karina, so what will happen now, this courtesy review, you'll take our feedback along with that of the El Presidio Historic Zone Advisory Board, and then you will make any changes and prepare for the next presentation back to El Presidio, and then we'll hear it again as well. And we'll want to know, maybe more details on, how you plan to differentiate when you're making rather major changes on the exterior like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And do you have any questions for us before we let you go?
I think that I got the gist of with the pavers and the mission tiles is just trying to match what they currently have. And then my biggest takeaway, which I agree with, was about the staircase. We should, even though it's going to be a metal staircase, we could maybe make it more sensitive to its existing design.
Okay, and that isn't on a terribly visible frontage, right?
Well, this is Main Street out here. The staircase is in the parking lot, but it is it's going to be the main entrance.
Yeah.
I see this courtyard as the main entrance for when they do have events.
Yeah, so I think that that's something you do need to think about, but gave you some feedback and so on. So, all right, well, thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate it. And John as well, it's a great project, lovely building. Glad it's being used in a productive way for the museum.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you, PRS members. Let's move on to item 3C, which is it's another. So we have two more courtesy reviews, yes? All right, TPPRE 0824-00193 at 380 South Meyer Avenue. This is for the Teatro Carmen rehabilitation. It's a courtesy review in the Barrio Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource, and we should be keeping in mind the rehabilitation standards. Staff, do you want to give some background before we proceed?
Yes, Madam Chair, this project, they are just here today. The Teatro Carmen had come before this board some times ago, but they're coming again today just for the roof there. And my understanding of the project is just trying to do in-kind type of replacement for that roof. Even though it is within the city of Tucson, but it's actually a county project. That's all I can say.
Okay, so my question is, so we're only looking at the roof replacement, and it is the courtesy review, correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
And even though action was noted, so scratch out action, roof replacement only. So do we have anyone from the county here to talk to us in addition to Herb?
I'm Drew Cook here. I'm with PMM Poster Merto McDonald. I'll be presenting today.
Okay, and you're working for the county, Drew?
Yeah, well, I'm working for Herb Stratford and the county. And I'll explain, I have a presentation, I'll explain everything for you guys.
Okay, go ahead then, please.
All right, am I allowed to share my screen here?
Yeah,
See if you can.
Drew, I'm going to make you the co-host so you can share your screen.
Thank you.
And Terry, Marty from the county is on the call as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank
Marty?
Yes, Marty Clell.
Oh, okay, thank you. I want to get your name down so it's correct on
We
the,
put it in the chat.
no, I see it on your,
Okay.
on your little square. Thank you.
Okay, does everybody hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I apologize for not having a camera. I'm at a computer that doesn't have a camera today.
So-
I'm going to present the Teatro Carmen here, which is down on 380 South Meyer. It is right there at Meyer and Simpson. This is a partnered project with Stratford Artworks and Pima County. And we've been to you guys. This will be our 4th presentation for you, and I've put together some historical work just to kind of show you how we've gotten to where we're at, as well as present to you some of the completed work. And I'll just let Herb Stratford speak up for just a second. Herb.
Sure. Well, I was just going to say this is sort of phase 2 of the project. The first project was the facade restoration, which we came to you and we actually won an award for. And now we are doing the roof replacement. And once that's done, then we will be focusing on the exterior patio space before we finish up on the interior space. We're still hoping to be done in 26, but this is sort of a pay-as-you-go project, and Stratford Artworks, which is my nonprofit, is responsible for raising the funds. And so as we raise funds, we work with the county to get the project done. The county does actually own the building. We will be the eventual operator. Right now, we're the development partner.
Thank you, Herb. And this is a finished photo of the current facade, and we'll walk through that here in just a second. There we go. All right, so I'll give you a brief history, show you our historical research, show you some of the first phase, and then expose you to the second phase, give you a brief history of it, the historical research, and that last piece didn't get changed, but the roof project. So Herb and I have spent quite a bit of time doing research on the building, both finding handbills, digging through archives, using aerial photos, Sanborn maps, and gathering information to sort of tell the story of the Teatro. And it was originally started by Carmen Soto de Vázquez, and it was originally built in 1915. It is a building that shares 2 walls between its reminiscent buildings that aren't there anymore. The Teatro only ran for about 6 years, we estimate, from 1915 to probably 1921-ish. And then it became a series of different venues. It was a boxing venue. We think it was a gathering place. We know it turned into a garage at one point, and you'll see some photos showing that here. Here's a photo in 1935. It became the home of the Black Elks, and that is the African-American Elks, as it was a segregated group back then. And they took over the original Teatro in 1940, 41. They built the second building, which you see here with their sign on it, and they're standing in front of it. So they've maintained this building for probably 50 years before the Black Elks, I guess, dissolved in the late 1980s. And we're still very unclear on some of this history. And most of these photos have been taken from either the U of A archives or the Arizona Historicological Archives. As you can see, we created a timeline to do our research. So we started collecting photos, aerial photos, oblique photos, street photos, Sanborn maps to sort of create the story to be able to tell how the building was used, how the building was developed, how the whole corner was developed as a part of our research. We used the Sanborn maps to really tell the story of what was here and what left. And you can see the 1919 photo shows that they had the Teatro Carmen mislisted and called it Teatro Royale. And if you look up north, they have it, the Teatro Royale listed as the Teatro Carmen. It shows the stage and an auxiliary building that hung off the back of the stage at that time. And then we move forward to 1947, and you can see it's become the Elks Hall. It looks like the stage has been taken down at that time. Still, the majority of the street building or the buildings along the Meyer Street exist. And then moving forward to 1949, you can see that the Elks building was built and added on. We did find the Blanton Cole drawings of 1939, 1940. That was the Elks building, and that's part of what we used to restore the facade of the building. Here are some aerial photos that we are using. So we've used a series of aerial photos and oblique photos to sort of figure out when things appeared and disappeared. And here in 1924, you can see that the stage was existing in the back. So the stage maintained for quite a bit of time before it was taken down. The next photo in 1941 shows that the stage is not there, but the low walls are, and they had built a smaller CMU building that still exists. And we use this photo here in the center to show that is the Chinese, it was actually the Lee Market that was on the corner of Simpson and Meyer. And we've incorporated that in our patio project, which we've presented, but we won't be showing that today. And then moving forward, you can see we used the 1965 photos to see when buildings were demolished at what time. So this is the facade. This is we're guessing 1918 photo that came from the Arizona Historical Society. And this is the only photo we have of the building from there until maybe the 1970s, we think. And we've presented this to you before, but I'll just kind of walk through what we did to achieve this. We use this as our basis of design. Here you can see the 1915 photo. Here's the 2022 photo, the existing facade, which everyone is familiar with. And then at the bottom is the 2024 photo, and that's one of our draft images. We hired a professional photographer to take some images recently. So one of the key things that we did in this project was we removed the center arch, which was a false arch, and they had put, at some time, we don't know, a double-headed lintel in there that's about 16 feet long for a garage door. So it was used as a garage. Cars could drive in here, and there's also a comparable size hole in the back of the building that they could drive cars out. And this is the Cox family. They're masons in Tucson, local masons, I think 5th generation, and Randy Oden working on this. So they built up the new arch and then picked up the weight of the building, removed the lintels, and then built the new arch. So here's a finished photo of the facade. And you can see that the Teatro Carmen here on the right with the correct sized arch. And we were able to achieve that arch by finding one row of brick that was still remaining above the lintels. And so we were able to project that and find the original arch. And then to the left here is the Black Elks. And we had a few photos and not much changed other than we were able to find drawings of the doors. So we matched the doors in the 1940 Blanton Cole drawings and added them to the building. So this is what we're here to present today, which is the roof. The roof is failing, the trusses are questionable, and Herb kind of identified this as our next goal. So we had come with our original phase 2, which was the patio, and now we've switched it to be the roof, and this is our main focus. So we're going to completely remove the roof and then rebuild the entire thing with modern day truss, prefab truss, and then the front hip section will be framed in on site. So we'll go through the series of steps here. But you can see on the left here is a historical photo of, this is at Main and Simpson, and that building right there with the stop sign on the bike, that is actually the La Suprema building that was just recently renovated. And that is the historical stage house sticking out in the back. The building on the right here, or the photo on the right, pardon me, shows you an aerial photo of the Teatro, its roof, as well as you can see here the base. It still stands. It's the stem wall for the stage. And we're going to use that as our basis of design for our new stage. And again, here's our Sanborn map that we've also used. It identifies the heights of the facade as well as the height of the stage, which was at 30 feet. Here's our proposed design for the new stage, and I'll walk through it from right to left. The front half, which is the hip roof, this is going to be framed on site. The one change that we're doing is going to be a cricket, and I will show you some details on that goes behind the sign, the signage and the arch pediment, because it is only an 8-inch 2-width white brick arch, and it's kind of flapping in the wind, so we need to put a backing support on it. The middle section over the auditorium, we're going to have prefab trusses made, and they'll be flown in. The tails on the trusses will match what the existing is. And then the back will be a stage house, and the stage is going to be a CMU stage that is also going to act as a shear wall to the system that we're building, and it will have a flat roof. Here's an interior photo or plan for you. So you can see that currently the porch is existing. We do not have the stairs. So in this phase, we'll build the stairs. But this wall here that separates the lobby from the theater is going to act as a shear wall. Currently, there's not much support on this northern wall. So we don't have diagrams of it, but the plan is that we're going to build a superstructure inside of the theater space. It's going to tie the two walls together and act as support when we remove the roof. And it'll allow the construction team to come in and remove the tin ceiling that's in there, or the steel ceiling, that we're going to maintain and save all of it, as well as deassemble the building. And then once that's done, we'll bring in the new trusses that will help hold the wall together. This wall will act as a shear wall, and then we will remove the proscenium in this phase, build 2 new small wing walls, which will be attached by a proscenium bomb beam across the top, and then the stage will be built out of CMU. So here's a detail of the cricket, and the cricket detail behind the sign. So you can see this is a photo behind the sign, and currently the roof just comes and drains behind the sign and kind of runs off the edge. And we need to add a steel member to the back of this. And you can see here, this is a section of the wall that you're looking at. It's going to have a through bolt with a steel beam that comes through that attaches to the roof system. We're also adding a 19-inch deep glue lamp beam that's going to run along the back of that wall to add support, because the upper section of this wall is only 2 bricks, so it's 8 inches thick. The lower wall is 13 inches, and we were able to pour a concrete beam or a concrete column within the wall and rebar. So we need to reinforce this. So this is one of the changes that we will be making to the roof, which will not really be visible to the street. Here's a section that you can see, here's where how the cricket will interact with the wall and the roof. And then you can kind of see how the building is set up. We currently have the porch, which is existing with the gates. The lobby will be framed up in this phase, as well as this shear wall. The projection room will sit above the lobby. We'll kind of hang over the lobby. And then the theater itself, the roof was, or the new roof will be an open roof to create kind of a base trap. So we're looking to get the largest volume of air that we can within space. And then here's the stage and how it attaches to the back of the building, which will also act as a shear wall. Moving forward, looking for this metal. So this metal we could not find, or roof deck, we could not find this metal. And we looked everywhere, but it matches the same as a modern day 5V crimped metal panel. And I don't know if you can see this, it's a little confusing, but this is the historic panel above it. And this is the, a sample that we received from the company that we're going to use. And it lines up in the middle exactly. This is actually a better design than the previous, because this allows, if water weeps over this, it drains out and doesn't affect the roof. This is actually an inferior design, but here's a photo of what we're going to use. We've been having some discussions about the finish. In a lot of the historical aerial photos we found, the roof has been rusted since then. We don't actually know what the finish is. None of this metal has any galvanized really existing on it. We feel that the roof should maintain a similar color because we think if you look at the previous photo, their galvanized or their galvalume finishes incredibly bright, and we feel like it's not appropriate for the space. So I think Herb and I have settled on this possible color, but we've looked at 3 different colors and we're still kind of working through what we want to use on this project. And then moving forward, here's one of the larger changes. I mean, it's existing, but you can see in the photo here on the left, there was a gutter system that ran along the north side with a 6-inch round pipe that came down into a sidewalk scupper. We have already installed the scupper and we intend to put the gutter back onto the building, as now on the north side is a parking lot and we will be shedding all our water into our neighbor's property, so it's required. So this will end up looking a little bit like this, where we'll put a 2x8 along the northern side, which will support our 8-inch box gutter. Box gutter will run the extent of the building, which is about 100 feet, and then will drain into a matching 6-inch round downspout into our sidewalk scupper. And just a detail of that, how that looks. And this is also to talk about the roof. So in part of building this theater, we're also modernizing a few features. And the main one is the sound. Back in 1915, when they built the Teatro, there weren't F-22s flying over Tucson, Arizona, which are incredibly loud. And so with our theater consultants, we have designed a built-up roof, which is made of a 5/8 inch plywood, 1.5 inch rigid insulation, and then 2 layers of Den's glass. Den's glass is kind of similar to drywall, but it's an exterior product, and it's really used for sound dampening in theaters. And then on top of that, another 5/8 inch piece of plywood for our fastening of the new roof and for the water membrane. And I'll stop here. I have a little bit of updates, but I'll stop here and allow you guys to ask some questions.
Okay, let's, do you want to finish with your presentation? Because this is courtesy, I will just run through members' comments.
Sure.
Yeah,
well,
let's do that.
This is just to show you the other pieces. So here's a photo of the Elks building just recently we had taken. And we're very proud. We're very proud of the outcome. One of the things we did maintain was this is an adobe wall still existing. It's 18 feet high. It goes about 41 feet. It bends once or twice inside the building. So we painted it a different color. We did stucco it. We put a sort of an expansion joint between. And while we did it, we found some of the historic rock down at the bottom, the foundation. So we exposed that. This is the interior. I know everyone really loves this. So this is the ceiling that we plan to maintain or keep all the metal. So we're going to pull all the metal off, and Herb has taken some of the metal to a sandblaster and had them sandblast it. And we're considering either leaving it like this or refinishing it. And we're going to use it as metal ceiling in the lobby, as well as part of our sound clouds in the new theater. And then here's a photo. You guys have seen this before, but I'm just reiterating what we're doing. These are the historic placards. Originally, the placard was, I believe, right here, and it was kind of like an open book. So we're doing 3 of them along the whole street. One will be for the Teatro Carmen, one will be for the Black Elks, and then one will be for the Lee Street Market, which was a Chinese market. And it kind of identifies the multicultural, the multicultures that existed through this street through time. And we want to maintain that in our historic work. And then here is kind of a rendering of what we've been working on. This is a draft rendering, but what the future street will look like. And we're building a wall, and you guys have seen this already, and we'll probably have to come back when we're ready to do it again. But we sort of made this street corner hold the same as the Lee Street Market photo that we have. And that is everything. So I'll go back to you guys.
Well, great. I mean, We look forward to seeing future phases of the project. So PRS members, let's just comment now on the roof replacement. That's what we're, that they'll be coming back to us with final details when it's a, will it be a formal review, Michael? At some point, yes, because it's in Barrio.
Yes.
No, it's owned by the county though.
This one is owned by the county, so it's actually now going to come back to you again, because it's a county project, so they're just doing a courtesy review from PRS, so it's not coming back to you.
Oh, I see. Unless there's changes maybe or something, they've been very good about reviewing. Okay, so this is, we can't make a motion, but we can say if we're not happy with something or that we have other suggestions. So let's start with Ricky.
Yes. So I know previously on the northwest corner of the building, there was a transition between like, I don't know if that's the corner where it had collapsed in the 70s or what, where they just put like cinder block on top of the regular brick. Did that already get repaired over there?
Actually, that was an adobe wall that was shared between the two buildings. It's former neighbor that was there, and at some point, I believe it was in the early 90s, it failed, and the previous owner chose to replace it with CMU, and that will just maintain as is. The CMU is secure, and there's no reason to fix anything. There is a window, and we will infill that window, but other than that, it'll remain the same.
Okay. And then in some of the Borderlands documents, which I know their documents are like kind of hit or miss, or sometimes the Borderlands Theater, they had said that the roof collapsed in the 70s during one of their season, like their show seasons, but it doesn't seem like there's any evidence of that from the photos.
No, I think Ricky, I think what they might have been referring to was that corner, that the north east corner of the building that we were talking about that used to be Adobe and now it's CMU. I know that I talked to Barkley before he passed, and I think it was more leaking than collapsing. So I think that's sort of like the urban myths that happened, just like the fox was full of vampire bats, which it wasn't. So yeah.
Yeah, it is exciting to see this project. It's not a roof question though, but I do have a question because I know the last time you guys came through, you were talking about maybe doing the elk sign on the front of that side and maybe not. Did you ever come to a decision on that?
I'm sorry.
Like the elk's bubble letters that you had found a blueprint for, but maybe never actually went up.
So on the Elks building, yeah, in the Blanton and Cole drawings, there were some relief Elks letters above the doorway, but you're right, we don't know if they were actually installed because we don't have photographs of them in place. And the real trick here is that there will be a third-party bar and restaurant operator, so we were a little worried about putting a name up there that might not be the name of whatever the restaurant is. So, but yes, I mean, that would be a nice thing if we could work into it. Maybe we talk them into calling the place the Black Elks.
That would be interesting. It is nice to see this come through. Thank you for matching the colors on the roof and making sure it still reflects the feel of the building, because a shiny new roof on that definitely would not fit how it currently is.
Yeah, I think there's some good options, and I think you're all going to be very happy with it when it's done. I think it's there's a certain aesthetic to Rust that we're not attached to. So
yeah, great.
I do really like that metal work that's on the inside, so I'm glad you're finding a place to reuse that, because those ceilings are beautiful and we don't see those like anywhere else.
yeah, anything that's salvageable will be reused as part of the ceiling inside. There's some that's just dramatically rusted through, and it just disintegrates when you touch it. So I think we're probably in a 65 to 70% salvage rate at this point is what we're going to end up with, but we're being very careful as we take it down.
Okay, thank you. Terry, that's all I have.
Oh, great, thank you. Okay, who wants to go next? Andrew or Jan?
Sure. Oh, go ahead, Jan, if you want.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I just have a couple things. I kind of feel like if anything you do is consistent with what you've done so far, it'll be beautiful. I mean, it really is nice. I agree with Ricky on the selections on the the roofing. Your favored color is the one I probably favor, but I could be comfortable with what you come up with. I wondered if you could show that photo again, just from the corner of Simpson that looks up at the stage.
And while Drew's pulling that up, let me just tell you the origin of that one. So that photo was in the Historical Society in some files about Chinese markets, because of course there were lots of Chinese markets. And so the La Suprema building, and you can see that's a 1936 Ford in front of it. And we believe that stagehouse came down in 36. So that would sort of be correct. But so that was a Chinese market before it became its current iteration is the La Suprema co-working space. We believe that structure, that stagehouse structure, was constructed of wood, which would explain why in 36 the Black Elks decided maybe this is a fire hazard. So this is the only photograph that we've ever been able to find. Actually, Damian Klinko found this and sent it to us. So it was very exciting to sort of see this holy grail, because we've never seen a photo of the stage, and that is the stage house. So.
Thank you. Yeah, my only question was just is mostly one of clarification. It looks like what you're proposing now is a flat roof versus the pitch roof. And then is it some shorter than what's there? That still goes above the roof line of the building?
That's a good question. And I'll let Drew answer about it is going to be a flat roof. And that's due to the need for the access and the smoke hatches and things like that. But it is the 30-foot. I don't think, those windows you're seeing there that had some sort of push out awnings or something on them, those are obviously not happening. But yeah, it is the same height, but we did square off the roof because of the access.
So the height of the eaves or the height of the pitch?
The height
of the peak?
Go ahead, Drew.
It'll be the height of the pitch.
Of the peak or
yeah.
of the eaves?
Of the peak.
Okay.
The ridge, yeah, because we're building a modern theater, we're sort of desiring the maximum height as we can, because inside of that, under the roof will be probably 18-inch deep W beams that go across girders, and there'll be 7 of them, and 5 of which will be integral to the rigging system that will be inside the building. As a part of what we're doing, we are trying to build a very modern, high-tech theater inside. So, it requires some things. That's why we chose CMU, because CMU is going to be strong enough to hold that system and the rigging system. I think it's a couple $1,000 pounds. It's been a bit of a headache resolving all these issues.
Okay, thanks. I was just trying to clarify. And then so the total height then of that structure?
It's about 32 feet.
Okay, thank you. I don't have
thanks,
any other
Jenny.
questions. Thanks.
Okay, Andrew?
Yeah, it looks great, guys. The only question I had, it looks like on the existing roof, there's like horizontal battens that are applied over top of the metal. Do you know what those are? I assume those aren't coming back. I don't know if they're historic.
In this photo or what's on it now?
Yeah, what's on it now? So you can see them in the aerial, and you can kind of see them from the street view. There's like horizontal bat.
You mean like
run it? No, other like perpendicular to that.
Oh, this? Oh, that's
yeah.
You know what? This is why I think that this roof has been reused. We kind of theorize. So that's the edge of the metal. The metal is roughly like 10 feet, 12 feet long. So that's kind of where it was overlapped. And I think it was overlapped, and that's how it rusted, and then it was reused. That's my guess.
Gotcha. I was just curious.
Yeah, and those panels are like 2.5 feet wide by 9 feet or something. And actually during a dust devil a couple months back, a couple of panels peeled up and flew across the street. So it's
nice.
definitely something that needs to be redone. So we ended up, the county and us, we ended up going in and creating some sort of strips that went down to sort of nail everything down so we could stay intact until we could start this process post-monsoon.
Gotcha. Are you guys going to be able to use continuous sheets on the new roof? Or will they be lapped?
It depends. It depends on how it all plays out with the metal fabricator. They can do quite a bit. We're working with them right now, trying to figure it out. More than likely, it'll be overlapped panels, but not so sure. I mean, 30-foot long is a bit of a beast to manage.
Yeah.
So
No, all good. I was just curious. It looks
yeah, they're
great,
all.
guys.
We're working with MS Metal out of Colorado at the current moment for the project.
Cool.
So
Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Terry?
Anything? Yeah.
I pulled up the old picture and I did have a question now.
Go
Another
ahead.
one, sorry. So, on the original old picture, that first one from like the circa 1950, 1918s,
yeah,
that one appears to have behind where the Teatro Carmen sign is, there's like a little bit that stands up, and then that also
Yeah.
is coated in metal. Is there any interest from you guys in restoring that portion of it?
we think so. What's happening is the mezzanine, the original mezzanine, was at this level right here at the core, sort of this corbel thing. That really only leaves about 5'4" from the floor to head height for the first, I think, like 6 feet. You know, we've worked with the county and we sort of have some permissions because it's not open to the public. We think that that was built so that people could stand up inside there with the projection. The way we're designing it now, we're pushing the projection room further into the building, that we don't need that. And we also don't have any information regarding that. So if we're building it, we'd be blindly creating something based on this photo versus, you know,
Yeah,
what's there.
since this is the only photo we have, and we don't know when it disappeared, that flagpole is still there, but that's it. So it actually might have been, supporting that that signage wall, at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we just don't know what was there. We don't have enough historical record. And yeah, to Drew's point, it's probably not something that we need anymore, and it's not really character defining.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any last comments, PRS members? If not, I think you've got our feedback, and we wish you well with moving forward on the project. And I'm sure we'll see you again with the next thing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
thank
much,
you both.
guys. And thank you for
Take
taking the
care.
time today.
Oh, sure. Great project, of course.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's move on to case 3D, which is TPPRE 0624-00143 at 800 North Country Club. This is for the Benedictine Monastery, PAD/HL, new multifamily residential buildings, parking garage, and office building. It is a courtesy review in the Sam Hughes National Historic District. It's a contributing resource and will be using the rehabilitation standards. So we never would see, or would we see this back as a regular review because it's a PAD in a landmark?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, in the future, but they want to start out with this, right?
I want to start out with this before they come to you as a full review. So they had a couple of things. First one was submitted to you was just a site plan, which don't look like it meant anything. So I asked for more information. And I think what I sent to you is actually what Charles will probably be talking today is about the Performance Arts Center at this location. But today is a courtesy review, and they will be coming back to you as a full review, even though this is a part historic and the historic landmark. They are reviewed the same like HPC cases.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. And who do we have presenting today?
That would be, I am Charles Pfeiffer with Poster Merto McDonald, here for the third time from our office today. So thank you for having us.
Okay, is there anyone else associated with this case on the meeting?
I do not believe so.
So, it's alone today.
Okay, thank you very much. So Charles, can you present to us what you're needing feedback on today, please?
Yes. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having us here today. So I want to present on the current phase of work that is taking place at and around the Benedictine Monastery building. And I'll give, since we're close to time here, I'll try to move at a fair clip here, and I'll be glad to go back and answer any questions. So the building that we're looking at, the historic monastery building, was a Roy Place building, which was constructed in the early 1940s. You can see the original documentation here, and I'll actually jump ahead a little bit. I'm sure everyone recognizes this building. It is iconic in the city. Jumping back over here. So in, I think 2020, we did a adaptive reuse of this building, which was formerly, you can see here, nuns' cells, as they're called, and a chapel space. And we converted that, and now, excuse the rotation of the plan here, we converted that into 37 dwelling units on 2 floors and amenity space, leaving out sort of the most important portion of the building, which is the chapel space here. And to give you a quick idea, if you have not ever visited the chapel, this is the interior of the chapel space that we see here, with this intersecting vaults culminating at a dome, or quarter dome, I suppose, at the end. And then here's sort of a detail of this ceiling. But we are here to talk about the exterior of the building today. So let me jump back over here. So just to sort of fill out the timeline, in 2020 and moving forward, the amount of time it took to construct the building, in addition to constructing the 37 dwelling units inside the monastery itself, more than 100 dwelling units were built in 2 buildings surrounding the monastery, which you can see here to the south and here to the north in these images. And on the north building were included several tenant spaces, which, if you're familiar with the area, there's an F45 and then also Yellow Brick Coffee in that location at this time. And so the project that we're here to talk about is a pair of projects, really only one of which affects the historic building. So taking a look at the site plan, so now we are looking again at the chapel space here. The proposal for this building is to adaptively reuse the existing chapel space as a performance center. So the owner of the project is a group that has done several similar performance centers, including the geez, why am I spacing on the name? I'm sure it'll come to me. Ballroom in Phoenix, several sort of similar spaces. So this would be used as a concert venue and performance hall, and we're going to talk more extensively about that. The second aspect of the project, which is taking place in the new build TI, which is connected here to this project, and I just want to mention it for completeness, is a restaurant that will be sort of part of, connected, same ownership, sort of same vibe, but not necessarily not directly connected, and not dependent on the work in the chapel. So here, just for curiosity's sake, is what the restaurant is shaping up to be, which is a dining room with a conversation area and a bar that serves both the interior and exterior. So here's a view from that conversation area, and here is a view of that exterior bar space. So the historic monastery and chapel will be to the right of this view. And so I'm going to move on from the restaurant and probably will not speak of it again as we talk about what it is that we are proposing to do within the chapel space. So the space was originally home to rows of pews all along here with a pulpit at the eastern side here, which now will become a raised stage. This will be a modern concert venue with amplified sound and attached bars. So the one will enter the space via one of two means. The accessible route I will talk about in a second, but the main route is up the existing stairs, which you can see just here in this image through these historic doors, which will be restored. That's not it. It is this door, absolutely beautiful woodwork doors. They're going to be restored to their, we fortunately are not going to have to replace the hardware since there is a second security door inside. So we'll actually be able to maintain these in their exact current configuration.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yes, and so taking a quick look back here at the plan. So you'll come in here and then depending on if you arrive late or on time, you may be able to go straight in through the doors, or if you arrive later, we're gonna create a secondary path to get into the building here, into the main space. So connected off of this primary space, so this is where the concert goers would stand to view the concert, are a bar area here, serving alcohol, and the DP with all of the various alcohol proceedings is in process at this time. And so this gets us into some of the work that we are here to discuss today. So this chapel bar will have an entrance at this location here. And so I will quickly now sort of go line item by line item. This area here is also going to be the accessible route for the building. So you can just barely see it here, but in the last phase, we added a low profile sloped walk that does not need guardrails to get up to this portico here. And you can see here, this window is going to be converted into a door. So it is going to have the same detailing and the same arched top, but we are going to be bringing that down so that we are able to have an accessible route. Excuse me, I went to the wrong page there. An accessible route into the building. So this will also be the accessible route to get into the main chapel space. So this will be used for both access to the bar and to the chapel, by which I will keep saying, but the main performance venue stage area. In addition to that, we are proposing to install a number of guard panels as minimally as possible. We are going to bring the grade up so that they are not mandatory, but for a safety standpoint, there is what will be a 29-inch fall here. And so we're going to install what it effectively amounts to furniture, little sort of standing bar tables in the arcade here in order to prevent people from becoming injured as they leave the bar and then would come down these stairs or down this ramp. Okay. So this is a view of that bar today. But well, I say bar, it is not a bar today. And then this is a rendering of the intended appearance thereof. And you can see here the door. And this was actually by our interiors person, but the intent is that we're going to line up our mullions exactly with this existing door or with the existing window system, and that we are going to be custom building this door out of glass and steel in order to match that very exactly full light door. Okay. So then if one were so inclined, they could leave this bar and come into this existing corridor. We are building out a new bathroom area here. And then we have a second space that if you come in here, you will, what is right now an exterior space. And I'm going to quickly jump over to a unfortunately a pretty old view. So these trees were removed as part of the previous project. And so what we have in this corridor, or excuse me, this courtyard now is a large open area with decomposed granite. So just an open, featureless courtyard presently at this location. And we are proposing at that location to enclose this courtyard in the lightest touch that we possibly can to maintain the feel of openness and access to both light and to the exterior. And so we can see what we are proposing here is to enclose this arcade. Oops, there's a skinny little line. Arcade here, and at the back, and I will go to some superior views here to take a quick look. But I will say one of the things that we'll be doing at the end of this corridor here, we will be replacing this door with a pair of full-light wood doors here. These are Home Depot doors that do not have any historic significance. Okay, so now I'm going to jump back over to my aerial view. So to get our bearings, here's the front chapel and the main entry that we were talking about. And what we're going to look at now is our enclosure of this courtyard. And so I have several different views, but the intent here is really that we are going to maintain access to light, and for this to feel like an exterior space that's still connected to the other parts of the building in the same way that the exterior space is now, while allowing it to be conditioned and used as a secondary venue space. And so you can see here the glazed enclosure of this existing walkway here, and then this overall roof. There's some other things I'll be talking about in a moment, also visible in this view. And so here's another view of that's at a more oblique angle here, where you can see the ramifications of this roof enclosure here. Now I will quickly jump over to some interior views thereof. And so you can see here that we are doing whatever we can to maintain transparency here with our system, our glazing system to the sky and to portions of the building, particularly the tower to the west for this venue. And part of the reason for this design, and I think which bears discussion for the overall project, is that acoustics are absolutely critical for this. So Drew spoke a little bit about the very significant acoustical roof treatment that was going on at the Teatro. We here also have the ability to do that. And so we are going to have an absorbent roof so that if these segments of the roof are absorbent of sound, so this can be a quality place to hear and play music. But we are also directly connected via just this formerly exterior, now interior wall directly between these two elements. And so that is a useful time to talk about what we'll be doing to the windows of the existing building. So we do not want to and will not be making any change to the exterior appearance of these windows. They will remain same material, same place, intact, not changing them, not moving them. What we will be doing is what we see down here in this view, where we have, this is the existing window that I've highlighted here. We are installing a secondary supplemental window to the inside here, which is creating both a sound barrier by allowing us to seal this very well to the surrounding material, and then also to create what is an important volume. Just acoustically, the space between these two windows is very important for the amount of sound that you can deaden here. And so that is true of all windows that touch this area at all. So everything along here on the north, everything on the south, including all the windows on the adjacent components of the building, which are residential. And so you can see here, this is the performance venue. This is our proposed enclosure. And then there's also windows here, which we'll be doing that same treatment to on the interior side. Never is there an exterior window modification for acoustics. So jumping back over to the floor plan here. So primary stage is accessed via a door that goes into this existing backstage area, which will be used primarily for storage. Secondary restrooms via a ramp. This is subject to change. I think that we sort of subsequently to this, I think we're actually going to be able to fit all those restrooms over here with sort of a revised calculation, but that's sort of irrelevant to this conversation. So the other aspects of the project I would like to discuss here before I maybe just open up for commentary would be that we are, in addition to the door that we already talked about up here at the front, there's one more door back here at this side of the building that we will need to be taking from a single door to a double door. And so I will go to a photo of that existing door here, single door, big wide covering. So we are going to be putting a pair of half-light doors at this location. And the reason for this is that this is sort of the primary access for the musicians to haul all of their equipment in, which may include large stage settings and so on and so forth. So this ends up being sort of the backside loading area. So let's see. I do want to touch a little bit on the site quickly, very, very quickly here. Let's see if I can find myself. So we are making minor modifications to the current site, sort of replanting with a little bit more lush planting versus what you can see. These are actually pretty earlier photos, but this area here, we will be upgrading the plantings, and we are proposing to make a small change to the circulation sort of between these buildings by adding this additional stair here. Part of the reason for that is the liquor control perimeter to not have to have people sort of have to leave and then re-enter the liquor control perimeter necessarily. Okay, so I think we've sort of done the speed version of that, and I do want to touch on one other item, which is in process. Which is that there is a strong desire in the part of the ownership to increase the presence of this building at night. And so I will go sort of here presently at night. Unfortunately, I do have a nighttime photo. We do have a arcade, which is adequately lit and has some character, but the tower and the main ornate cast stonework at the chapel are not lit. And so as part of this project, we are proposing to add lighting, and we have engaged Claudia Joy to assist us with that. And so for the time being, what we have are sort of concepts where we're going to be using the dark sky code, of course, to add some downlighting and some interest lighting to this tower and to the cast stone facade. Okay, so I'll go ahead and go quiet. I could land here on this just as sort of a reminder, if that would be useful to facilitate discussion, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, do you guys mind if I go first? I need to take off here. I have a 3:30.
Thank you, Charles. So now, okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, there's a delay in my audio. On the rear arcade portion of I guess the east end of that courtyard that you're enclosing.
Yes.
My only comment there is it looks like in the plan that glazing is either set right behind that arch wall or I'm not super fond of that. I think if there was a way to push that back maybe a few feet so that that depth of the arcade reads a bit more. Because right now it's all open, so you read that shadow and everything behind that. So I think if we can just push it back a bit more, that would help. And then I was just curious on I think there's like an aerial courtyard view that shows the new pitched roof. Yeah, like that bottom one, if you can zoom in. It looks like that's going like right to the bottoms of those windows. So I assume
Yes.
you'll figure that out, but I just want to make sure we don't have any impact to those, and then just want to avoid the possibility for any sort of water issues
Yep.
down the road. So
Yeah,
and then
that is a great point. And so the idea is that this is a reversible structure and we will not be causing any harm to that. The goal will be that we'll modulate the height of this as needed to accommodate that.
okay. And then that structure, are you going to be attaching to those existing walls like with a ledger, or is that going to be completely self-supporting and isolated?
Right now, we are starting from the position of actually attaching to the building. It is conceivable that this will end up being sort of self-supporting, sort of depending on structural capacity, the structural capacity of the wall.
Okay. And then that roof material, is that metal that you're proposing?
Yes, we're proposing a standing seam metal in a color to more or less or faithfully match over to the existing terracotta roof material.
Okay. All right. Those are my only questions. Terry, I do have to take off. Are we okay if I leave?
Yes, yes, so I'll have you leave at 3:08.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, who's next?
Too late.
Mrs. Jan, I guess I'll go next. Just to confirm or follow up on what Andrew was saying, so the pitch of that courtyard cover, that's still well below the existing roof line, right? I mean, the thing, it's not visible from the front facade
No,
at all.
not
Is that
at
correct?
all. No, it is 20, 15.
Well below. Okay.
What you'd be able to view, yes. Mhm.
Okay, good. And I appreciate Andrew's comment about pulling that glazing back on that rear wall there. I like that idea. And then just a clarifying question. When you were first talking about the ADA access to the bar area, I thought I heard you say that was also access to the chapel, but there is separate ADA access to the chapel, right? Somebody doesn't have to wend their way through the bar to get to.
This is the primary. So there is an existing ramp, which is not ADA compliant.
Got it.
Here to that main chapel door. But the answer to your question is that this would be the accessible route to the chapel, or excuse me, to the performance venue. Yes, which I would agree is maybe suboptimal from an access standpoint.
Yeah, and I realize that making it more accessible might be in conflict with trying to keep it as historically accurate as possible in the front, but that definitely seems like kind of a second-class access for someone who's coming to the performance space. And if there were another way to resolve that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And so I will take that under advisement. We'll take a look at this ramp. I think we've reviewed this before and it's pretty significantly out of compliance, and it didn't look like it would become a big snake swallowing up the building, unfortunately.
Sure.
But I'm happy to take a look at that. I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate what you're trying to do. And I don't have any other comments or questions at this point.
Great, thank you, Jan. Ricky?
I agree with Jan's comments about that ADA access. Is there a main thing that is the reason why that ramp that exists now is not ADA accessible? Is it just it's too steep for the current standards?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's kind of terrible.
Yes, it is. It's a boat ramp, more accurately stated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is nice to have front entrances, and I don't know if there's some way to. I know you're trying to preserve it and add more planting. But to be able to have that front access, especially for folks who aren't maybe able to go through bars or don't want to walk through the bar, because that's another thing is like if you're under 21 and you need a ramp, you're going into a space that technically you're not allowed to be in.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, and I mean, is there maybe something off that side courtyard that you're talking about connecting or somewhere in there? I don't know, at least wouldn't feel quite as.
Yeah, the problem is, or a problem is that the grid drops down to a basement level by the time that you get sort of even to this point here. And so really the only actionable areas is either this front door or that door. But it's not to say that this is impossible. I think that so one of the things that we've taken carefully into consideration is respecting this historic lawn space and the character. Let's see, there's a pretty cute, let's see, this is not actually exactly what I want. I think I subbed it out. Yeah, never mind. This is what the place looked like it was originally built, just in the middle of the desert. But that lawn was a character of the historic building, and it's sort of right in front of the overall piece of the building. And that is why we have not yet pursued that. But I will take that under advisement, and we will see what we can do to improve access.
And then yeah, thank you. The additional cover that you're building in that patio area, where do you guys have that primarily draining to?
Yes.
It's really tucked in between those buildings.
Yes, that's a great question. And so it is, I'll work here from this view. So it does drain into what would be a gutter system at the buildings, obviously. But that then is going to go down through a rainwater leader into an existing underground storm system that does exit this whole area. And so we will be able to drain that. I think this is probably a good time. So we're in the process of pricing this right now, and this is an expensive element, especially the skylight itself. And one thing that we are actually pursuing is that maybe we would keep the solid pieces of the roof and to actually just have this be open, in which case it might be that rain would actually be able to get into this space. It truly is, in the eyes of the ownership, wants to feel like an exterior space. There's going to be a lot of plants in there. It's going to be evaporatively cooled. And so just if anyone has any comments specifically about maybe deleting that. And in that case too, so for drainage, obviously then you're going to have water that's falling directly in there. We would have surface drainage to inlets that would then come out via that same storm system.
Being in a space like that with the evaporative cooling rather than the regular AC cooling, just personally sounds kind of terrible. I think in that case, like I would be in favor of it being open, but not that it rains here too often. Like the rain's already going in there anyways.
Right. And so we're the reason this is courtesy is we're a little bit early on that. And so optimally, I think it would be conditioned. We're just trying to balance whether this is considered an interior space or if we can, via the code and operability and some of this glazing, consider it to be a semi-enclosed exterior space that then wouldn't be allowed to be cooled and have to meet all the building IBC requirements potentially. So I think this could be on the spectrum from being more or less sort of a two-sided ramada that's open all the way to an enclosed building that meets the building code, somewhere in there. But the historic impact, I think, would be more or less the same in any of those instances.
Do you have a picture of what it would look like without the skylights?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a picture of what it would look like without the skylights?
Unfortunately, I do not, as that only just came up today. Let me jump over sort of to this. The plan would be that the roof would look exactly the same, except that the skylight would be gone. So same peaked roof. But I think, so the reason that I wanted to present this in this state is that it might be that the skylight costs $300,000 and it might get installed at a later date. So I would like sort of just an opinion on no skylight, and then what if there were a skylight. I think that optimally the skylight would be installed in this initial phase, but it may either never exist or come in at a later phase.
Yeah. I think if it ends up being planting here rather than this like table seating, then I'd say no skylight. Because then it's like a partially covered nice park area versus
It
having
would still have table seating no matter what. It would just be table seating and lush plantings, sort of this isn't exactly the right term, but let's say jungle bar type of environment.
okay. Where and those plantings like native plants or just like I'm also just kind of curious.
Let me see. I don't think I pulled that. You can sort of see it here. Just sort of what maybe the idea would be that there might actually potentially be trees planted within this space. And then sort of plantings around the perimeter as well. And these may be in pots, so as we don't end up creating negative water conditions at the perimeter of the building, of course. So I think that this is sort of in flux, but I think to honor the original use of this as a planted courtyard, I think is an important precept to sort of ownership, and that we are pushing to maintain that. So for instance, the proposal for the flooring in this space is that this would be a stabilized DG material through which the water can directly flow. So
Okay. I think I really liked that planting, like the planting that you just highlighted there. And I think in that case, the feel of it would be better with the without the skylight and gives it more of the feel of an open courtyard versus having this now completely enclosed, like old church space, bar, eating area.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jam feels any differently.
Yeah, well, actually that, thinking about that and thinking about being in that space, if there's no roof covering, it just really opens up the opportunities to not have that glazing on the end. And to me, a space like that that's semi-enclosed with misters would be more appealing than trying to make it an indoor space.
Yeah. So it's probably worth a little bit of description again into the acoustics as it relates to this particular item. And so the reason that we are interested in closing it is that this isn't exactly the right view. Let me just go here. This is very close in proximity to these existing apartment units. And so to allow them to extend the hours later, enclosing that, and or even the roof that we're showing may be sort of an adequate acoustical accommodation for that space in order to allow it to be used sort of until late in the night, and it's not disturbing the 150 luxury apartments that surround it, which is sort of unfortunately both from a sort of design standpoint and money and historic a prime requirement, I think, of this use.
Good point. That's a great point. I was thinking of it more as a primary use, not as a secondary, and recognizing the context. So appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will just quickly add just for additional context. So in addition to the windows on the rest of the building, we are being very aggressive with spray foam and adding insulation, both to improve the interior acoustics of the space and then also noise trespass out. And so we are doing everything that we possibly can to seal this up so that this building does not become a annoyance to people in the neighborhood or in the rest of its own property.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for those great comments. And Charles, we look forward to seeing you again when you get farther down the road in the design.
Yes, absolutely. So I really appreciate your comments today, and we will, especially I think on that access, we're gonna see what we can do. So thank you all for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care now.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, since we're already going so late, I think what I'll do is I'll just say that items 4 and 5 will be postponed to a future meeting, so there'll be no presentations. And we're down to 3 out of 5, so it would be better to have more people. And then, so under 6, current issues for information discussion. 6A is minor reviews. Michael, what do you have for that?
5 minor reviews with Andrew is left, but we're just basic cross space vent for the capstone houses that were relocated. They were moved from Speedway to their current location, and they came to you for review. And there was a requirement for them to do the vent as a minor review. That's what they did for the 5 houses that happened last week. So those are the only minor reviews that I have done that I can report to you today. I can tell you where they were. 929 North Jacobis Avenue, 926 North 2nd Street, 925 North Jacobis, and 924 North 2nd Street. And the last one was 948 East 1st Street. Those were done, and again, they were just for the vent space for the foundation, and they were recommended for approval. The director has already signed the approval letters for all of these. And so
those are the ones you sent me, yes, Michael?
Those was the one I did, yes.
Yeah, and I distributed them to PRS members, so they're aware of that.
Yes.
And then you will contact people for upcoming minor reviews?
I will.
Okay, perfect. 6B is appeals. Do we have any?
We don't have any.
Okay, 6C is zoning violations.
We continue to work on this zoning violation, but there's one that was heard by the barrier yesterday at 350 South Convent. This one, I believe Ricky is quite aware of it. It's the one that started as a minor review. They have a pending zoning violation that in court. And they went to the barrier on Monday. The barrier had the case and decided to continue it. The applicant decided to hire a lawyer to represent them. The case was continued. So it's still in the process. It's going to come to you after the barrier at the request of the applicant. It is for a door that was replaced with inappropriate materials. Ricky and Grace from the barrier tried to help them to find a way out, but I think that applicant was not happy with what Ricky and Grace had recommended. I decided to go to the full board to the barrier has been continued. They will still go to barrier next month. I guess when they have a solution, then they are going to come to you. As a typical zoning violation case that we have. Other than that, there are no violations.
Okay,
Michael,
thank you.
I have a question about that. So is that proceeding as normal, even though he hired a lawyer? Like, we're still going to look at it as normal. He just has that to appeal if he doesn't like what we in the barrio decide?
Yes, it is just, it's coming now as a full review, which is a normal review. And the lawyer is just a representative trying to help him with the process. That's all what it is, but it is still a regular review.
That's interesting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. 6D is review process issues. Does anyone have a review process issue they would like to bring up?
I don't have any, Madam Chair. The only thing that I had that I could report here, I reported yesterday, or Corin reported yesterday on the changes at our department, which I believe you are all aware of it. But
I don't think Jan is, because Jan was not at the meeting. But
Okay.
it's just that Corin is now the interim director and Christina Swallow has moved over to assistant city manager, correct?
That's correct. And he is no longer with the city.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and I would just say that we do have to watch the length of these meetings because now that we're down to 5 official members, that means we can have a quorum of 3. But that's not ideal, obviously, if we can have more members. And maybe it's just having so many courtesy reviews at the same time, but I can see why we did that. So, but anyway.
Yes, yeah, for the constituency review, these are reviews that have been pending for a long time, and I was actually, it came from management that I need to get this done. I had
That's fine.
And asked them to limit this to maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes of review. So my understanding, my thought was that this thing will just go quickly. So we'll know
They
what.
never do, because I mean, they were fairly extensive projects, and especially the Benedictine is a pretty big project. But we got through it. Item 7 is summary of public comments. Were any received by the deadline?
None was received by the chair.
Okay. So item 8 is future agenda items. I really appreciate it that if you just let me know what the agendas are going to look like and we can talk about it. And then the next scheduled meeting is September 26th. Ricky and Jan, I think you got my email saying what your schedules look like through the end of the year. And I think Jan, you got back to me, and Ricky, I think you did as well, and provided dates when you wouldn't be there. We're just trying to figure this out because it was to make a decision whether Savannah should stay on or basically take a hiatus. And I think it was smart that we just, removed her for now from plans review, or we would always be having the struggle, even more of a struggle with a quorum. So I will not be on. Are both of you planning to be on September 26th?
No, I have the WMA conference and I'm presenting 2 times that day.
Yeah, so Jan, you said you could be on?
So my challenge is, through September right now is I plan to, but I can't 100% guarantee.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is
that the one that maybe Andrew could chair that one?
Well, I already asked Andrew to chair, and then we will
still don't have a quorum if Jay can't make it though.
Yeah.
Well, what we're gonna have to do, if you're gonna try to be on, if you can,
and then I'd let you know, but that's,
you have to let me know, because then I'll cancel this tour that I paid for.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, and then, well, it is what it is. But then, who is it? We'd have to count on Joel to be there, and I'm very surprised that he is not on today, because I spoke with him, and he said yesterday he would be on. So, anyway, let's stay in touch. When Michael sends out, just email me, or you've got my text, and I've got your number too. So that would just be helpful, so I can give my ticket to someone else.
Sure.
If I know.
I'm making every effort.
No, is it possible to move that one to the 3rd? I can make October 3rd. I know that then creates a thing where we do 2 weeks in a row, but.
Yeah. If we don't have a quorum, we can talk about on what date.
Well, let's do this, Michael. Why don't you email the 5 members and say, if you're not able to attend on the 26th, what is your availability for the 3rd? But we're going to keep it on the 26th unless we can't get a quorum or something like that.
Have it as a backup, maybe. If that's,
Will do.
And okay, that sounds good, but I think we're going to have to all stay in close touch and be responsive on, and both of you are. I'm not saying you aren't, but it's frustrating. I don't know. I hope Joel's okay. He didn't, I just don't know. He never usually forgets. Okay, so and then before you go, I wanted to see, Michael, I really appreciate receiving the recording. Now, Christina, can you help with that? Because Jody always provided me with the recording and then a passcode to get into it, and it also contained the transcript.
Yeah, we can make that work. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Michael, we should probably, you'll do sort of the basics of the LAR.
Yeah, we'll do and send it to you, Madam Chair. Okay,
sounds good. And I appreciate everyone hanging in there as long. And thank you, Christina, for your support, and Michael. It's good to meet you. And yeah, it was a good meeting, but kind of long. So anyway, we're adjourned at 3:31 and good luck. Ricky, I know you got a lot coming up. Good luck with all your stuff and your events. And we'll talk soon then. Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shut us down.
Great.